Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah, and the third and final video in my short little mini-series on how to recolour my dog and cat layered SVGs. Now you might be looking at the SVGs in my shop and thinking, that looks great, but it doesn't match the colours of my dog. Well, that's what this little series has been all about, showing you how to recolour them yourself in Cricut Design Space. Video 1 was how to take a dog such as this poodle and then recolour the whole thing, so we turned it brown. Video 2, we went a little bit further. We took this Cavalier King Charles design and we turned it into a tricoloured dog. For this third and final part, we're going to be doing even more advanced recolouring. We're going to take this Shih Tzu design, which is all one colour, and then turn it into a different colour that has patches on it. This is definitely the most advanced of the 3 recolouring videos, but don't worry, I'm here to show you every single step of the way. And of course, don't forget, you can use these same techniques on any of my layered dog or cat SVG files. To get the file which most matches your dog or cat, head to shop.craftwithsarah.com. But for now, let's jump into the tutorial. So for this one, I'm going to do a Shih Tzu, and I'm going to show you how to change a design into one that has additional colours and patches where the original design doesn't have it. So for this Shih Tzu, I'm going to turn him into a white Shih Tzu with brown patches. The first thing to do is to make it white, and I'm going to rush through this a little bit because it'll be the same technique that we did in part 1 of this video with the poodle. So I'm going to make my solid layers white. I'm actually just going to choose a slightly off white so it's easier to see. And that one. And then for my flower layers, I'm going to do again just a slightly off-white for those. There we go. And then I'm going to make the nose the same as the eyes. And so this is now a white Shih Tzu, and I hope that helped to kind of show you how quickly you can change the colours once you get used to it. So that was done in 20 seconds, and it took us 10 minutes in the first part of the video. So it does get a lot quicker once you get familiar with it. We now need to start adding in some patches, and for this one I want to add brown patches. So there are a couple of ways to do it depending on how confident you are with Design Space and how much time you want to spend on adding in the customizations. The easiest way to do it is to select the layer that you want to add the patches. So mine is the Flora layer on the bottom. Actually, first what we need to do, is to click the design and then press ungroup so that each of the layers are separate. And now we can click on the body layer with the flowers and press duplicate. So this will be our brown patches. So let's make it a brown color. And then at the moment it's going to show on top. We'll fix that in a moment. But for now, let's look at how we would fill in some of these flowers. So with my layer selected, I can press contour on the bottom right of the video. And it might take a little while to load, but you can now zoom in and click on the parts of the flowers, where's it disappearing off to, that we want to make a solid brown colour. Now, because I've made my cursor really big so you can see it when I'm recording, it makes doing the contour feature in Design Space really tricky. So I'm going to try and get it correct, but it might all go a little bit wrong. So yours should be easier. Just click into the pieces that you want to get rid of, or you can click them in the list down the right hand side if you find layers in there that you want to remove. It kind of goes in size order with the bigger layers at the top and then the smaller ones at the bottom, if that helps you to find them. So I'm trying to take out these top flowers. It's not letting me select this petal. Ah, annoying. All right, let's see what I've done so far. So you can see I filled some of them in. And once you've done some of them, you might want to put it into position so you can check if you're happy with the amount you've done or if you need to do some more. So let's drag this over the Shih Tzu that's already there. And then in the layers panel, click and drag it down until it's beneath the full layer of the white or the color that you've got on top. So you can see now how this is going to show through. And actually I do want to continue filling in that gap of this flower. So let's go into contour again. Try and get it to fill in. Going to try doing it this way instead by clicking the little layers. And if you get the wrong one, you can just click it again to turn that layer to sort of to hide it again. So I've just got one more tiny piece. Trying to find it. I think it's that one. And then I'm also going to make another patch for the bottom of the Shih Tzu. So let's find those two leaves, or petals, sorry, in the list here. There we go. All right, so now I've got two patches and I've actually accidentally filled in a little bit over there. Oh dear, let's remove that. The contour tool and me are not friends when I've got my mouse cursor made really big. There we go. Okay, so you can choose which parts of the design you fill in based on the exact dog that you're trying to replicate, so you can see where the patches are on that dog and then try and do the same. You can also add in patches on other layers, so if I choose this front piece of the Shih Tzu, I want to choose the layer with the flowers on and duplicate it. Make this brown, and then I actually don't need the tail part because that's going to stay white, so the easiest way to get rid of that will probably be to go into shapes and choose a circle, drag that over the tail so you can see it's now covering it, select the circle, press shift on your keyboard and choose the brown layer we've just made, and then press slice. Delete the two grey ones and delete that brown tail, and now we're just left with the body. So let's go into contour again, and I'm going to take out this flower. Oh, it's behaving itself this time. There we are. So now I can drag it over, get it roughly lined up as close as I can, and then drag it down underneath that white one. And now we have another patch of brown. This has given us our patches of colour, but you might not like how it still shows the original colour of the main body on top. So on this one, we've got that slight grey showing on top of the brown. What you might prefer is to actually have these bits filled in with brown instead of the kind of off-white on top. It is a little bit more complicated to do that. I'm going to show you how to do it, but please bear in mind that this part from now onwards is more of an advanced Design Space tutorial. However, that being said, I'm going to show it all to you step by step, so even if you are new to Design Space, just watch the video through carefully, follow along with the steps as I'm doing them, and you should be able to do it too. So let's find the original brown layer we've got, and I'm just going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard to move it over here. I then want to find the white layer with the flowers and duplicate it again and move it over here. I can then make it an even darker brown. So I'm going to click my original brown and then in the advanced settings, just drag it so it's darker. What we're then going to need to do is cut away all of the flowers and the outline from the dark brown that we don't want to keep. I'm going to zoom in to make this easier to see. And then I'm going to go into shapes and choose a circle. You could also do it with a square. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm going to make this a bright color so you can see it easier. what I need to do is add a shape around all of the bits that I want to cut off. So all of these flowers that still have white underneath, I want to remove them. Let's duplicate this. And you're trying to make it so that it's got nice edges where it's going to cut. So I've added 2 circles here so that when this is sliced, this petal is still going to have a point on the end of it. It's a shame that there's no easier way to cut things apart in Design Space. If you accidentally move it, like I just moved my main layer, click undo and it will put it back. To turn your circle into an oval, click the padlock icon and then you can drag it around, which can make it a little bit easier to fit into some of the smaller spaces. And then you just need to keep going, covering all of those joins of the parts we want to remove. I'm going to pause this video and go ahead and get that finished, and then I'll show you what the next step is. So here's my design now with all of the shapes, and I think I've managed to get them all. So remember, what you're trying to do is cut off all the bits of the brown that we don't want to appear on the final design. You want to make sure you keep any solid parts of the design still connected, which is why I've still got the main body of the Shih Tzu, because you need that solid shape to build up the other layers on top. Now that you have all of your little shapes, click on one of them in the Layers panel, then press Shift on your keyboard and go through and choose all of the shapes that you've added. It might take a while if you've got lots of them like I have. And sometimes when you click, Design Space shifts the layers back to the top, which is very annoying, so it can be a bit fiddly to do that. But once you've got them all selected, go down the bottom of the Layers panel and press Weld, and that will join them all together. I'm going to hide the brown layer that's underneath, the solid one, and then choose the Shapes layer, press Shift and choose the brown layer that's underneath that, and then press Slice. This is going to cut all of those shapes out of my brown Shih Tzu. I now don't need the yellow shapes, so I can delete those. And then I've got 2 layers here. So I don't need this one of all the tiny pieces, so let's click delete and get rid of that. And now we're left with this, which is looking honestly quite messy at the moment, but we're going to fix it. So let's turn that back one back on, drag this into position, and that's going to help us know which bits we want to hide. So now click on Contour again on that top layer, and it's going to let you click to remove the pieces that we have cut out. So I'm going to go through and take this out. And it might take a few goes until you've got everything. So if I look at this now, this is how it's looking. So this is good. If we hide that bottom one, you can see what we've done. So there's a few more bits I need to take out. Just clicking through all of these bits that's no longer connected to anything. It's being tricky again and not letting me select the right bits. Trying to do contour when you've made your cursor bigger than it should be is tricky. I think that's them. Alright, now you can see on this leg, I've actually missed a bit where I should have taken it out along where it touches the body. So let's zoom in. I'm just going to add another little square. So if you have missed any parts, you can go back in and just do the slicing again. So let's slice those 2. Delete the yellow layers and that little bitty bit of brown. And now I can zoom out so you can see, go into contour and take out that part. There we go. Now some of your edges might be a little bit jaggedy, like you can see on this leg where I've cut it out. It's not quite smooth. If you want to, you can give it another go and add some more shapes along it and try and get it smoother. Or once you've cut it out, just go down that bit with your scissors if you want to make it smoother. But you might even find that you don't even see that jaggedy edge because of all the layers that are going to be stacked on top. So let's zoom out again. And now what I'm going to do is turn on that original brown layer, this one, which is our solid, and I'm going to delete that. And the reason I'm deleting it is because it's still got all of those bits left that we've just got rid of. It's much quicker just to duplicate our dark layer and then make one of them that original lighter brown, go into contour and get rid of all of those. So let's click hide all contours and it should do it in one. And now we have these. So now I can drag these over the original Shih Tzu and then drag them down so that they now sit above that white layer. Do this one as well. And now our patches are looking much nicer because they are now covered in a darker colour of the same sort of shades. So we've got a light brown and a dark brown, whereas before we would have had the off-white showing over the top. I'm going to show you those steps again with the front of the Shih Tzu, just because it is a little bit more involved and I want to make sure that I've explained it okay. So let's find this brown layer on the front of the Shih Tzu and duplicate it and move it over here. And then find the white layer with the flowers and duplicate it so that we've got it with the open part of the flowers. And I'm going to remove that tail again quickly. So just slice that over the white one and delete the parts we don't want. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing with our circles and squares to cut off the bits we don't want. Let's make it our dark brown first and go into shapes and choose our little images. And just like before, anywhere that this floral part meets the bits we want to cut off, I'm just going to add a little circle or square in there. I think the rest of it will look fine with squares. Let's click the padlock to make it a rectangle. This does take a bit of practice to get used to doing it and also to work out where it is that you need to trim off each time. But once you've done it a few times, then it should get a lot easier and a lot quicker. So if you do this once and it takes a really long time, don't despair because you will get quicker at it. I think the only bit left I need to do is up here, and a nice big rectangle will look good there because it's going to keep that brown as a sticky out point, which will look like the fluff of the fur. Oh no, there's one more bit here. You see where these two flowers are joining. So let's add another rectangle in there. Just rotating it so that the points of the rectangle aren't taking out bits where I don't want it to go. There. Cool. Okay, so let's select all of these yellow shapes by clicking one, pressing Shift on my keyboard and choosing the others. And then I'm going to weld them together. Then click these yellow shapes, press Shift and choose the dark brown floral layer and slice those out. Delete the two yellow ones. And then I'm going to delete the light brown one underneath. Then I'm left with this. I don't want these random little shapes, so let's delete that one. And then with this one, I can go into contour and hide all these bits that I don't want. If you don't want to go and hide them all like this, another way, oops, I just clicked the wrong one, which is why I did that. If yours does that and it takes away what you want, just click undo and try again. And I have also noticed that I've missed a little join, so I need another shape in there. A circle will look best. Let's slice those. There we go. All right, so what I was about to say before I messed up was that if you don't want to click the contour button to get rid of all of this, you can do it, which I think is an easier way, with the slice tool. So let's choose some more circles, and this time we're making them big and positioning them on top of everything that we want to hide. Oops, didn't mean to move that. So it's really important, if you're going to do it this way, that you don't touch any of the part that you want to keep. We're only putting this over the bits we want to get rid of. Now we can weld the circles together just like before and slice this out of our layer. Delete the two yellow ones, and now we've split this apart. So instead of having to contour everything, you can just delete that and we're left with the bit we want to keep. Zoom out a little. There we go. Just like before, I'm going to duplicate this, make this one the lighter brown, and contour out those shapes. So now we've got those layers. With the brown one that's still on the Shih Tzu, I can delete that one. And then drag these into place. Make sure they go down where they're supposed to. And then there we go. Our other patch is now done. You could leave it like that to cut out, or we can make it a little bit easier for our Cricut. If I go through and hide these layers until we get down to a brown one, I'll show you what we mean. So we've got this top brown one, then the solid brown, and then underneath you've got the white layer, but it's still going to try and cut out all of these shapes that we're going to cover up. And that's a little bit of a waste of time, really. It would take our Cricut longer to cut it out, and then we're just going to cover up those gaps. What you can do is go to your layers underneath the patches, go back to contour, and just contour out the pieces that we're going to cover up. And thinking about it, an easier way to do it would have actually been to keep the layers that we originally made. So I'm just going to try and do that. Let's see if I can undo enough steps. Okay, so now I've got this layer back again. Let's move it out so you can see. This is the original brown that we made that's still got all the flowers. So what I'm going to do with this is make it my off-white, delete the off-white one, which I can't quite do because it's got the tail attached. This is where it gets a little bit trickier. You don't have to do these steps. You can just cut it out and cut the extra pieces out. So I'm going to slice my tail off again, otherwise I'll lose that layer. Keep the tail, move it over there. And then I have deleted the one with the flowers that was there, and I can replace it with that one that's got the solid. And now when I put these back into place, it's not going to waste time on the Cricut machine cutting out those flowers when it doesn't need to, because we're going to cover it up with the brown. So I should have done that with those original back layers too, but I did not think of it. Okay, so here we go. This is all of our layers all ready. So now I can press select all, or drag a box around the Shih Tzu, press group, and then resize everything to how big I want to cut it out. So that was definitely a bit more of an advanced recoloring tutorial. I hope it all made sense. If you do get stuck at any point, leave me a comment underneath this video or email sarah@craftwithsarah.com and I'd be happy to help you out. If you do email me, please send me a screenshot of your Design Space screen so I can see exactly what it is that you're trying to do and the part that you're stuck on. It will make it a lot easier for me to help you if I can see what you see. I hope you enjoyed this video on how you can turn one of my layered cat or dog SVGs into one that is coloured completely differently so that it better matches your pet. Don't forget there are other videos in this series on different recolouring techniques. I'll add the links to those in the description of this video. And of course, to get any of the SVGs, go to shop.craftwithsarah.com. I have loads more videos for you coming really soon on all different techniques, and I'm really excited to be sharing them with you. To make sure you don't miss out, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I hope to see you soon in one of my future videos. Thank you for watching. Bye.